Well, the new collab news is finally here. Raid Shadow Legends meets Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I am super excited about this. Potentially dangerously excited because I want every unit in the collab. And you know what that means? That is dangerous, to say the least. So the collab is actually going on for, I think, 2 months. It's going on for quite a while, which is nice because we need some extra time to get all of the units. The fusion, well, the fusion's going to take a while as well because every event is... Let's take a look. Let's take a look at everything and then we'll see our thoughts because I actually didn't even get a chance to see the skills of the Ninja Turtles just yet. So let's see what we have. Here comes the TMNT in Raid. We got the Turtles. We got April. We got Shredder. Leonardo defense type, Affinity Void, Faction Shadowkin. So this makes me kind of butthurt. Because I am OCD and nitpicky and whatever. The fact that they're in different factions, it probably is not something that makes people butthurt, but it makes me butthurt. I wish they were all in either Lizardmen. I know they're not lizards, but I wish they were on Lizardmen, or Shadowkin would also make sense, potentially make more sense. But everything is different factions. Leonardo defense. Also, why is he defense? I feel like, well, why is he defense? I don't know. If he's got swords, he should be attack type. He shouldn't be defense. I don't get it. But moving on. Defense, Void, Shadowkin. Then we have Raphael, Attack, Force, Barbarians. Also, another thing that makes me butthurt. Everything makes me butthurt. That's what we're learning today, as if we didn't already know that. Donatello is Magic Affinity, which is blue. Leonardo is Void, which is purple. Okay. Donatello being support, that makes sense. That's fine. I don't have any any butthurt about that. I feel like maybe, no, it's fine. It's fine. Let's move on. So Raphael, Force, Barbarians. At least Force makes sense for Raphael. Donatello support, Magic, Lizardmen. At least he's in Lizardmen. Michelangelo is in the Bannerlords. He's in the Bannerlords, though. Attack type, Spirit, and then we get him after 7-day login. April O'Neil support, Magic from the Sacred Order. Although their backgrounds, I do believe their backgrounds are all TMNT backgrounds versus the backgrounds that you normally see in those different factions. And then Shredder is HP type, Void in Shadowkin faction. All of that makes sense. And then we have the Shredder dungeon. Didn't take a chance. Definitely didn't take a look at that either just yet. So August 21st through November 13th. So that is August to September, September to October, October to November. 3 months. 3 months for the TMNT collab. Michelangelo Chase is 7 days. You get Michelangelo. That's not bad. That's not bad. You also, if you haven't reached day 7 of the Michelangelo Chase by November 13th, you won't be able to claim Michelangelo, but you'll instead get the Epic Orc Champion Shaman, her souls, and gems. What else? We don't care about Shaman. We really don't. Event Dungeon, new relics. I think there's information on the new relics as well online somewhere, but we got 8 new relics. It's decent enough to get a couple of these in these collab periods. I mean, the mythicals are not going to happen, but the other ones. And then they also color-coded. And then we have collect all 6 TMNT champions while they're available to earn the Pizza Time badge and show off your achievement. A badge I will not be getting. I think many of us will not be getting. Shredder. Yep. That's, he's half Shredder and half puppy dog. Good old Shredder. Yeah, Void. I don't know, man. I don't know if that's going to happen. So, Pizza Time badge, show off your achievement. That's not all. If you manage to collect all 6 champions by November 13th, you'll get a gift that contains exclusive avatar for Shredder, Zibia Servitude Relic, and a bunch of other in-game goodies. Okay, let's take a look at the Donatello Fragment event. Donatello Legendary Support Magic Lizardmen. If you're interested in discovering more of Donatello's backstory about his time in Teleria, I kind of am curious a little bit. Champion lore. I never look at the champion lore. I mean, I've looked maybe once or twice, but this I'm kind of curious about. To get Donatello, participate in events and tournaments. So we got the Summon Rush, 15 fragments, champion training, 10 fragments. Dungeon Divers 1, 2, and 3. So that's another 15 fragments there. Gear Enhancement 1, 2, and 3. So that is another. It's gonna be a while. Actually, not that long, I guess, to actually finish Donatello. It'll be a month. Not even a month. This is yeah, everything stops at the beginning of September. Wow, so fast. So fast. You really gotta be on it. I mean, this is kind of like every fusion. It's not anything different. But how many do we have? We have 30, 40, 55 here. And then we have another, we got the Champion Chase, Champion Training, Dragon Tournament, Ice Golem, Fire Knight, Spider, Classic Arena Takedown 1 and 2. So we have another 15, another 15, so 30, 40, and 55. So we have 110 total. And then if you finish top of the leaderboard, you get extra fragments. That's what the plus 10 is. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. Up to 130 champion fragments if they take part in the leaderboards. If they can top the leaderboards, you can choose which events. Oh yeah, only these two. Only these two. Champion Chase and Champion Training. I thought there was extra 10 over here too. I'm like, that doesn't add up. Whatever. Anyway, let's take a look at the skills of all of the units. Very exciting. What do we have? We already have some of them active right now. Ice Golem, Soul Chase. Soul Chase. I kind of want to get that. You can't win them all. You can't win them all. If I start trying to go for the Soul Chase, then it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough to do all of those plus. And also, 2 different accounts. Do I try to go for the fusion on both accounts, or do I just go for the fusion on one account? I guess it depends on. I'm gonna try, and if I fail on one account, at least I'll get on the other. Also, I'm kind of curious. Maybe we try to summon. Not now, because we got the summon event coming up, so we're not going to summon anything until that. But I'm kind of curious. Maybe I will do some summons, and then whatever has better RNG. If we get a turtle on there, then maybe we focus a little bit more on that account and try to collect all turtles on the account that we already have it started. So, because two of them are easy enough to get. Easy enough as fusion in raid. Takes effort, but 2 of them are attainable somewhat easily. I think someone mentioned somewhere that Raph was going to be in one of the card events. So we got the Dungeon Diver, thank you very much. Radiant Sunlily. Yeah, more gems. Gotta try. I gotta make sure that I actually save my resources, though. Okay, let's take a look at what the units actually do. Calling all new players, Raid wants you to join the Raid army. They want you so bad they're gonna give you a free legendary champion in your inbox as soon as you start playing, and 3 more epics right in your inbox at levels 10, 20, and 30. All free for you just by scanning the QR code on the screen or the link in the description or the pinned comment. In addition to all of that, you can use one of these promo codes on the screen in the first 24 hours to get another free legendary of your choice. And some of these units are absolutely amazing. And whether you're a new player or already playing Raid Shadow Legends, you can use one of these promo codes for extra daily resources and rewards. Don't delay, download Raid Shadow Legends today. Michelangelo is the first up. We've got this Booyah, attacks an enemy 2 times. I'm just glad Michelangelo is free. Hopefully, if we don't get all of them, hopefully we at least get the turtles. If we don't get all the turtles, hopefully we at least get Raphael. Although then I'll be butthurt that I don't. I'm always butthurt. Always butthurt. Then I'll be butthurt that I didn't get Leonardo back. I can't have just 3 and not Leonardo. That's the point. That's the point. That's how they get you. That's the point. Okay. So we have the multi-hit increase attack on this champion for 2 turns if either hit was critical. That's not bad. Especially for a damage dealer. Attacks 1 enemy. Oh my god, so many words on all of them? No, just kind of that one. Attacks 1 enemy before attacking, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% defense break on the target for 2 turns. 75% chance of placing a stun for 1 turn. Ignore 25% of target's resistance if the attack is critical. Applies a debuff spread, taking all debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. Debuff spread is nice. ignore 25% of each target's resistance if the initial attack was critical. This debuff spread, I love this. Theoretically, I love this for Spider. You get a burn, debuff spread. That looks like we can do that here, so I don't see why not. I think that looks solid enough. Yeah, we're not going to get the spread on the Spider, but then we have an AoE, decrease attack and leech for 2 turns, ignores 25% of target's resistance if the attack is critical, plays a taunt on the champion for 2 turns, damage based on attack. And then we have passive effect, 15% chance to evade an enemy's skill and all of its accompanying effects. If the champion is under a taunt buff, the chance to evade increases to 30%. Whenever Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, or Raphael attacks, this champion joins in that attack. Interesting. Do they all do that? Active effect places shield equal to 300% of the champion's attack for this champion for 1 turn when they receive a hit. I really like this unit. And increase accuracy in all battles by 70%. Yeah, I really like this unit. I think he's going to be really nice for Spider as well. It's a 3-turn debuff. So I think he could definitely be a cool unit for Spider. Next up, we have Raphael, who is my favorite of the turtles, if that was not already obvious. He's my favorite because he's always angry and he's kind of a jerk. And that's my spirit animal, is it Ninja Turtle that's always angry and kind of a jerk. So we have double hit, place a block revive if the target is killed. So double hits on all of them, plus they team up. That kind of makes me feel like these could be good in Fire Knight as well, breaking through that shield if they're just doing lots of skill 1 multi-hit team-ups. So keep that in mind as well. Block revive if the target is killed. Interesting. Each critical hit fills the champion's turn meter by 10%, damage based on attack. That's also could be good for the Ice Golem. And then we have the AoE, Seismic Slam. Attacks all enemies will ignore shield and block damage buffs if attacking under a Berserk debuff placed by this champion. If the champion is not under a Berserk debuff placed by themselves, the damage inflicted against enemies under shields is increased by 50%. Each critical hit fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. Okay, so we got the turn cycle potential over here. Base speed is 100. Attacks an enemy. I always like to see the base speed when the turn cycle potential, because that potentially makes it even crazier. Attacks an enemy 3 times. Again, good for Fire Knight. Each hit will ignore 20% of target's defense. Place a perfect veil and unkillable on this champion for 2 turns if the target is killed. If the target survives, place a berserk debuff on the champions for 2 turns instead. This debuff cannot be resisted or blocked. Okay. Whenever Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, or Raphael attacks, this champion will join in the attack. Place a berserk debuff on the champion for 1 turn when any champion dies. 20% chance of granting an extra turn when attacking under a berserk debuff placed by the champion. So a lot of attack gauge increase and a lot of potential for berserk buffs as well. These things are just going to get a lot of turns and team up with each other. Like, that is a potentially brutal team if you have all the turtles together. That is potentially going to be a really, really nasty team. Next up, we have Donatello, who is a support unit. Apparently, people already have this unit because they're already rating him 5 stars everywhere. I don't believe that that's true, but congratulations on already getting Donatello. They must have summoned him for this. So attacks 1 enemy, heals all allies. So not a double hit, just a single hit. Heals all allies by 5% of this champion's max HP. Okay. Instantly activates 1 random continuous heal on all allies. Activates. Okay. Does he passively? Looks like he might passively do it. Attacks all enemies, decrease cooldowns of ally skills except this champion's by 2 turns. This skill's cooldown cannot be decreased by other cooldown decreasing effects. Place a 30% increased speed on all allies, damage based on HP. So you make him very fast, you give him a lot of tankiness, just like every other support unit in every game though. Removes all debuffs from all allies, love it already. 15% continuous heal and 25% strengthen on all allies for 2 turns. Fills turn meters by 20%. Really, really nice. I like these unit skills. Of course, it is a legendary that is a fusion, but yeah, whenever all of the turtles attack, this champion joins in on that attack. Whenever the ally is about to receive a fatal hit, this champion prevents that ally's death, keeps him alive with 1 HP, then equalizes that ally's HP. HP level of that ally will be brought up to the average HP level of the team. If there are multiple champions on team with this skill, only 1 will activate. It is reusable in 4 turns. That is nice. So much synergy together. So much synergy. No revive. I kind of was expecting a revive, to be honest, because we got the increased speed. We have the fill turn meters and heal. But, I mean, I suppose that this is the... Usually for units that do speed buffs and increased attack bar and kind of support type skills, we see revives on a lot of them. But for this one, we just have the death prevention instead of the revive. So I have noticed that that's a trend in Raid, is like if you see speed buffs, attack power buffs, attack gauge boosts, speed leads, revives go alongside of that. There's like a handful of units that are very similar. Leonardo, who is a void, which is going to be kind of tricky to try to get him. I suppose, I don't know, man. It's going to be tricky to get Leonardo. So let's see. Attacks one enemy 2 times. Counterattacking will repeat this attack against a random enemy. Ignore 3% of the target's defense for each buff on this champion. Stacks up to 15%. Not bad for a skill 1. 60% increased defense buff on all allies, and he is a defense type unit. 60% increased defense on all allies for 2 turns. 50% ally protection buff. Didn't I say that this is probably going to be an ally protection over here? Based on just the way this skill looks. I said that in the... Well, actually, I said that in the video that was not posted to this account. So, the other channel, I posted a raid promo and was talking about this. So, increased defense, but that's before the units came in. That's before you could even see their skills. I was just looking at the skill icons and I was like, oh, this looks like that. So it looks like it's going to be an ally protection. Ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns. Place an unkillable and counterattack on this champion for 2 turns. And then we have the AoE Turtles Together. Damage inflicted by this skill increases by 5% for each buff on all allies and enemies. Removes all buffs from all enemies if this attack kills an enemy. This effect cannot be resisted. Then we have TMNT Unity. Ignores 15% of each target's defense per each Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, and Raphael on the team. Does not count this champion. And then we have... That's potentially... nasty. Turtle allies increase the damage dealt by this skill in proportion to the champion's missing HP. 3 turtle allies activates the skill whenever an ally's HP block. Why can't I read? Turtle allies activates this skill whenever an ally's HP drops below 50%. Occurs once per skill. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate. That could be nasty. If you have the whole team in here, you get hit, then AoE Turtles Together. Potentially nasty. Place a stone skin buff on this champion for 1 turn. Each time this champion's HP drops below 50%, occurs once per skill. Whenever your turtles attack, this champion will join in on that attack. And then we have the Defense Leader skill. This is the one that ties everything together with this skill 3. Turtles Together. If you didn't tell me this was April O'Neil from TMNT, I would kind of think that this is just any other unit in Raid Shadow Legends. Also, she kind of looks like, because she doesn't look like a news reporter necessarily, and that's kind of her thing. So, she kind of looks a little bit like... War Priest? I mean, War Priest without the armor. War Priest with a makeover. That's what it is. They took War Priest. They're like, we're going to make you into a legendary and give you a makeover, make you look a little bit more dainty. I don't know how... Maybe not dainty. She's got a dagger. She's ready to stab things. Yeah, dainty. I apparently don't understand what dainty means. We have first skill. This is not going to have the same synergy as the rest of the turtles. This is just going to kind of be... I would imagine be her own thing. Maybe she's got some synergy later in the skills, but all those turtles were working together. Attacks one enemy, 50% chance of placing one of the following all of these different CC debuffs. But it's just one of them, 50% chance, 1 turn. Perfect Veil on this champion for 2 turns. Not bad for a first skill. Second skill, Explosive Scoop. 75% chance of stealing all buffs from the target. Also has a 75% chance of stealing 100% of the target's current turn meter. What's the skill cooldown? It is... Okay, so it goes up to 100% chance and 3 turns. 75% chance of placing a Nullify debuff and a seal on the target for 2 turns. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Loki. Passive effect, 25% chance of activating the explosive scoop. What is that? Oh, scoop like a news scoop. Like, hey, here's the scoop. Here's the word on the street. I was like, scoop, like pooper, scooper. Like, what is she scooping? 25% chance of activating the explosive scoop on an enemy when they gain extra turn or instant turn effect. If there are multiple champions on the team with this skill, only one will activate damage based on attack. 50% increase accuracy buff on all allies, and decreases turn meters of all enemies by 20%, grants extra turn. This would have been boring if it wasn't for the extra turn. And that's going to be 4 turn cooldown, which makes this actually kind of a 2 turn cooldown, which makes this very good. And then we have the Ace Reporter. There's so many words here. Why you got so many words? Whenever an enemy has their skill activated. This is kind of a thing with mobile games now, is so many more words, so much more complicated skills than back 10 years ago. 10 years ago, it's like, doesn't attack, and also defense break, and there's a little splash animation that goes on when they attack, and that's it. And now the more complicated mobile games get, it's like, oh my god. Whenever an enemy has their skill activated, teams up with allies to attack, gains an extra turn or an instant turn, has their skills cooldowns decreased, gets their shield value increased, gets their destroyed HP restored, has their HP swapped by allies or themselves, evades an enemy effect or skills, has their turn meter equalized, or has their HP balanced from a skill, decreases all enemies' turn meters by 10%, occurs once per skill. If there are multiple champions on the team with the skill, only one will activate. Oh my god. Hold on. My brain has to process this. There's a lot of equalization and balancing thing. Extra turns. I feel like extra turns going to activate a lot. Decrease all enemies' turn meter by 10%. That could be really strong, though. Passive is 2 turns, but again, she gives herself extra turns, so like all these skills have lower cooldowns than it may seem. Whenever enemies remove, transfer, or decrease the duration of any debuff to 0, decreases turn meters of all enemies by 25%. This could be really strong, actually. This seems like it's much better. This seems really strong. Increases ally speed in arena battles by 28%. I think this might be nasty as a CC unit in live arena. That's the vibes I'm getting from this. Yeah, that's what that looks like. Last but not least, Void Legendary Shredder. Let's take a look at what he does. Attack an enemy 3 times. Second and third hits of the skill will ignore 5 and 10% of the target's defense respectively. Second and third hits of the skill will deal 10 and 20% more crit damage respectively. Okay. Second skill attacks all enemies 2 times. Critical hit destroys the enemy's defense by 5%. Stacks up to 30%. Each critical hit also increases the champion's max HP by 5%. Stacks up to 30%. Kind of similar to what, what is this face? The fusion we had. The Shadowkin fusion that we had not that long ago. That I went out and did, and 6-starred, and fully built, and... What is his name? Ishiyama. That is his name. Kind of reminds me a little bit with the champion's HP increase. Each hit has a 75% chance of placing a leech debuff for 2 turns. Debuff cannot be resisted if this champion is under a veil or perfect veil buff. Damage based on HP. We have attacks all enemies before attacking, steals all buffs from a single target enemy. This effect cannot be resisted if this champion is under a veil or perfect veil buff. Fills this champion's turn meter by 15% for each buff stolen. Will ignore 15% of the enemy's defense as well as shield and block damage buffs. If this champion is under a veil or perfect veil buff, will ignore 30% of each enemy's defense instead. So he's got a lot of ignore defense and destroy enemy defense on here, which is nice. And then we have the Dimensional Tyrant. So it doesn't look crazy yet. It looks okay. It looks good, but it doesn't look crazy yet. Decrease all incoming damage by 30%. Nice damage mitigation. Damage is split equally among all allies. Oh, except this champion. Well, it's damage distribution, not mitigation. Increases champion's damage dealt by 15% for each dead ally. I mean, that sounds like it could be actually. Sometimes it's hard to tell how strong units are going to be. This could potentially be a nice unit for soloing dungeons. If you have good enough gear, if you have a nice soul on him, he could be good for soloing dungeons. And you bring in the food champions, they die, and then he gets buffed. Whenever this champion loses 20% of the max HP in one attack, has a 100% chance to evade this next attack. When this guaranteed evade effect activates, place a perfect veil buff on this champion for 2 turns and a 50% chance of placing a true fear on all enemies for 1 turn. The true fear debuff cannot be resisted. And then we have this HP. Sometimes though, like, there are units where it doesn't seem like they're too OP in their skills, and then you actually see them in use and you're like, oh wow, that's really crazy. So this is one of the units that I kind of feel the same way about. Is you look at the skills and you're like, okay, it looks like a good enough skill set, but not anything really too ridiculously OP. And then you see what he can actually do in the game and you're like, that unit is way better than he seems based on his skills. So that's just an observation. Is it's harder. I feel like it's harder in raid to know if a unit is really good just by looking at their skills. And once you actually get a chance to use the unit, you're like, yeah, that unit is stronger than I expected. That unit is not as good as I expected, etc., etc. So anyway, that is it for this one. I'm excited about this new collab. Cautiously optimistic. I don't know if I'm optimistic. I know I'm going to be spending a lot of money. That's cautiously holding onto my wallet as much as I can. That's my actual commentary on that. But anyway, that's it for this one. Hope you guys are excited about the TMNT collab. Good luck on your summons. Don't do them yet. Wait for all the summon events. But see you as always in the next one.